So I'm going to just take a minute or two just to give you a little introduction to Sowams Woods, and then we're not going to stand still and talk. We're going to walk since it's chilly. But so Sowams Woods is 12 acres of land that was preserved back in 2006. It was a 4-year, $2 million campaign to save this land. And if you look at the sign up here, though fading, and we probably need to restore it, there are a number of partners who helped make that happen. There was, the state involved, the town was involved, the Nature Conservancy, and also very importantly, the Pokanoket tribe of the Wampanoag Nation. And in fact, the 7 trails on this property are each marked in a different color. And those colors are the colors that are on the rainbow shield of the Pokanoket flag, and of the Pokanoket tribe, rather. And so it's symbolic as we go through these trails. The other thing that's just kind of neat to know about this property, at least as Laura would have it, is that this is a very special place for women. And that's because, according to Pokanoket lore, this was a place where women came for birthing, and they also came to have a little place to get away once a month, to be together when they really didn't want to be around all the men folk. And so it's a place of peace and solitude and restoration. And so as you walk through these beautiful trails, think about that, and that it is kind of special that a place has been preserved that was a special place for Indigenous women. So we're going to start the path we're going to start on, and this is going to be interesting to see. Has anyone walked the trails yet? Did you see any tracks?
I didn't walk them, but so I don't know. But I haven't seen anybody walk them since I've been here.
Yeah. So we might get first tracks, which is very exciting. So this is the map, and we are going to be starting here on the Jenks Trail. Jenks is one of the original landowners of the property after the Indigenous people. And the property was also owned at one point by the Rhode Island Country Club over there. And as we go through some of the trails, we're going to go through the Jenks Trail, we're going to go around the Rustic Trail, we're going to go down to where there's a vernal pool, which is going to be covered with snow right now, but I can tell you it was wet a few days ago. And then we're going to go along the Walnut Grove Trail, and just to be aware that many years ago, more than 100 years ago, there was a walnut grove here, and the Rhode Island Country Club, when they owned the land, they decided they wanted to plant red pine, and so the walnut trees came down, the red pines went up. But there's an interesting thing about walnut trees. As a protective mechanism, they emit a chemical, naturally occurring chemical, that kills things around their base to keep other plants from growing up. I know I had one in my backyard once.
I had two.
And yes, you did. You've seen the action. And so what happened when the red pines were planted in place of the walnuts? They developed red pine scale, and over time they fell over, died. And what's happened is, in their place, white pines have kind of risen up to take their place and seem to be doing very well now. So anyway, let's go for a walk.
No walnut trees.
Ellen, was it right up there where we saw the raccoon on Saturday?
I don't know where you saw the raccoon on Saturday. I saw the raccoon a little bit further down the trail one time.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. But
We've got trail markings here. So this is the red trail, which is the Jenks Trail. We've got tracks, but they're not human tracks.
Yeah, I was wondering, it could be a dog, but it could be coyote.
Or it could be deer.
Yeah.
Ellen, these tracks here, what's your guess? Dog? I don't see human tracks with them, so could it be deer, coyote,
let me just go down a little bit.
or a small person?
I don't think it's deer. I'm thinking,
It'd be more than one.
yeah, but deer is larger.
Yeah.
I'm thinking probably dog.
Probably
would be my
dog.
guess.
Yeah, with a very dainty
Yeah,
person
small.
with the dog.
Yeah,
Two small dogs.
Two small
small
dogs.
dogs.
No mascot.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll
yeah.
see the footprint.
I mean, maybe raccoon. You know, there's a chart on if you Google animal track.
A mocker nut hickory.
Who has marked the trees?
The land trust does that.
Oh, good. That's very nice.
The trail mark?
I'm.
The trail with the tree plaques.
Yeah, the plaques.
Tree plaques. Yeah, the land trust did that.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's really helpful in this season where it's a lot easier in the spring. I can pull out my iNaturalist app and see, well, what kind of tree is that? So I'm really grateful when there's an actual plaque on it that helps me get to understand what a tree looks like in the winter time.
Yeah. So we had an arborist come through and help us with this.
I was going to say that.
There are multiple, this is sort of the Robert Frost, two roads diverged in a yellow wood and wishing I could travel both and be one traveler. Well, we have three on here, but we're going to go left here. Yeah, if that's all right, because it's like, it's, or just anyone. Just because that light.
Hey guys, come on, you're supposed to be in the picture.
Come on, this is a group picture.
Group picture. You too, Dave. All right, let's keep going. With any luck, we'll find the cutoff for the ground. Someone's tricking me.
That's actually a trail that the neighbors have made that we try to discourage, but we have had absolutely no luck discouraging that trail.
Which is for the vernal spring. Do you know what vernal means? So unfortunately, when you look at property like this, it hasn't developed. But if you look at 1,000 feet out, it's possible that, as we carve up our landscape into house lots, that's what makes it tough for some of these animals to survive, because they have the pool, but they don't have the surrounding area that they need in order to survive. So that's one of the things that makes the place really special. That and the fact that it is absolutely beautiful to see a vernal pool that is wet in winter.
And in the spring, it is alive with people.
Yes. The peepers kind of come alive at different times in the spring. I read that, and I wasn't sure if it was so, but so that you have more than one shot at the singing.
It's nice that there are so many larger trees. Branches is just
We have to dispel people of the notion that this was all virgin forest with huge trees here, because the tribe regularly burned off much of the area
That's
here.
correct. It
Oh.
was.
Interesting.
From what I've read, and you might know better than me, Dave, but that or Ellen, that during the time of the Pokanoket, it was more of a field than it was a
Right.
forest.
well, and did they have like plants that they were growing, or just
Well,
trying to help the deer? Or?
about 1,000 years ago, they started growing corn. That is a relatively recent invention. And to grow corn, you have to have open fields. So that's when they began burning off the area. But they would burn off even forested areas to take care of the underbrush. So the larger trees, bigger than any of these, would survive for 100 years or more. But the smaller underbrush stuff would all burn off. So it was like a park. And the English loved it because they said, oh, this is just what we're looking for. This is just like England.
Yes.
And you can ride your horses through so, without any problem. So, I at first thought this must all be virgin forest, but chances are pretty good that all of this at one time or another was either burned to clear it, or the colonists used their axes liberally and cut just about everything. So it's with a couple of exceptions. There's one place down in Portsmouth
Yes.
that claims to be, you know that?
Yeah.
Virgin forest, but everything else has been cut probably several times in the last couple hundred years.
Well, yes, and we've seen evidence of that even, here with the walnut trees and then the red pines and the white pines growing up. It is sort of a testament to nature as to how quickly things can recover
Yes.
if you let them. If you'd like to have a map to take home with you, feel free to take one. Yeah, there is a map online,
Yeah.
but it's not this
Not
one.
this one?
So
Okay,
I'm
then.
gonna make a PDF.
I will take one then.
Those trees there with the snow coming down. It is pretty magic.
Barrington has a lot of these areas.
Yeah.
It feels like it's snowing even though it's not.
No. That is lovely. We have about 84. Some of them are larger, like Sowams Woods or Johannes, which is 33 acres. And some of them are little tiny corners of property. And believe it or not, there's still more property out there that can be saved. We're in the process right now of looking at several properties that people are looking at donating to us that would help us create contiguous areas of open space, properties that are especially valuable are those that are already attached to open space or that would create important habitats for plants and animals, or just create peaceful open space for the humans that live nearby.
Which is the largest?
Johannes is the largest of the properties, and that was a big project. We'll be doing another walk there.
How about
too.
the Rayner property? I think that's what it's
That
called.
is actually owned by the town,
Oh,
and it is the trust is very involved in the management of the property, along with other organizations that have an interest in the property, and so it's kind of a group effort.
Okay.
And am I phrasing that correctly, Ellen?
You know more than I do.
So, but yeah, there are a number of properties which are town-owned where the trust's volunteers are integral in maintaining the properties because we have volunteer power. And we have the knowledge of how to do that. And so it saves the town a lot of money, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
And it enables the town to preserve more land that they might otherwise preserve. So, okay, I hope everybody's getting a picture to take home.
well, I have a golden. He's 70 some pounds. But I worry about him because I've seen 3 coyotes go through, and he can't handle 3 coyotes.
Yeah, I have seen one of the most beautiful scenes I've seen. I live on the edge of 100 Acre Cove, and 2 or 3 winters ago, when it was cold enough where the cove was completely frozen over, I saw 3 coyotes loping down across the cove, basically heading toward town. I'm thinking, what are you going for coffee or something? But it was just an amazing sight. I felt like I was in the Alaskan tundra to be able to see 3 wild creatures in the middle of this huge frozen cove. It was kind of amazing.
They're absolutely beautiful. They're so healthy looking.
They are. Well, I think that we are beginning to have some balance of our ecosystem coming back. With you don't want to have all prey and no predators.
Right.
Sure they.
Has anyone ever read Barbara Kingsolver books? Barbara Kingsolver?
I was just going to say something about the coyotes. I have seen a fair amount of evidence that coyotes are hunting in these woods. So I don't, if I had a dog, which I don't currently, but if I had a dog, I would not bring the dog in here.
Yeah.
Just because there's just too much evidence of coyotes being very active.
Yeah. Well, and dogs should, if you do bring your dog, must be on a leash here, and for their safety and also for safety of other people who may or may not be as comfortable with dogs. But if you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think when a dog is on a leash, another animal perceives you to be more of a connected being when you're together, and so that's a little safer for the dog.
I think so.
This spur?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Every time I get to this point, I always want to go that way, but you've got to go this way to go that way, so we can take you up to the ridge trail.
This is where the horned owl was spotted. So I have my binoculars. I'm trying to see
Oh, here.
Here?
Yeah, no.
I heard a dog.
Over that way.
I'm not seeing it.
And over on the far side over there, along South Lake Drive, the closed South Lake Drive, there's a herring run that...
Do they actually run?
Yes, the DEM, the Department of Environmental Management, installed it, I guess, or they replaced it a little
Yeah.
while ago.
Is that fish ladders they put in?
Yeah, there are fish
Yeah.
ladders, but there's or a herring run. I don't know
Herring
what the
run.
difference is between a herring run and fish ladders, but the herring definitely need to go up to get
Yeah.
to where they're going.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like God's own ornament on the tree.
Gorgeous.
I love the winter walkers.
It's funny, they like to be all together.
This makes me so happy, honestly, looking back and seeing all these like happy faces against the snow.
yeah.
There are all these blueberry trees, which we could not see because they are covered with briars. And so high school students need to do community service, and other organizations like to do community service too. So they were looking to the land trust, and I said, let's get all those briars off of the blueberry trees. So we spent like a morning doing that with a bunch of kids. It was a lot of fun. And the blueberry trees are just beautiful now.
And they're big. I was surprised when Ellen pointed them out to me the first time.
Yeah.
They're really like little trees.
Yeah. I mean, this summer wasn't a great summer for growing blueberries because it was a bit dry, but in the future they're going to be, but they're just beautiful and you can finally see them.
That's great. Wonderful.
Is a really nice one for families with kids. Like, it's a great training ground for little hikers to learn how to be in the woods. This used to be South Lake Drive. This is the road that was closed off by the town, and it's now a beautiful walking trail. The land trust property ends here. But if anyone wants to have a longer walk and more time outside, I'm going to go back home. But you are welcome to walk down South Lake Drive, come back, walk through the trails again, and maybe even with the quiet of aloneness, you might even see seen it of. And just to introduce folks to these beautiful places that are right here, but a little off the beaten path and not necessarily well signed, which is probably okay because I feel like now I have you folks, you all know where it is, and you're all great stewards of the land, and so you would introduce other nice people. All my life I've been saying Osamakwa.
Yeah.
See, I would have said Osamequin. I would have.
Osamequin.
This is I'm just hearing that this is the more correct pronunciation. But so that is also town-owned land, and the Barrington Garden Club has a big role in the management of that property. Some of the trails are now. It's becoming wet, and so there's going to need to be a big group effort in the years ahead to look at that trail system and make sure that the trails aren't in wet habitats, both for obviously the comfort of walkers, but for the habitats that are there. And so it's one of those properties where we're really seeing the effects of climate change. And so we're looking at doing that kind of thing at the Land Trust. We're seeking grants and funding to try and install some of those types of things, because Coast Snap is the name of the unit that
is doing it, and it's through URI. It's a great project, and there are a couple of other ones that are out there that we're looking at because we want to not only just do coastal areas, but we also want to do some of our inland areas to observe the change of land. Sowams Woods, come back, bring friends, enjoy the walk down there, or head on home to hot chocolate, whatever suits you. So, and
Bye-bye.